I'm student Dr. Thompson, here to talk about how board preparation went for me and how the actual test went as well. In this video, I'm going to share with you 4 things. First, how I prepared. Second, how the preparation affected me. Third, logistics of test day. And fourth, aftermath. So first of all, how I prepared. When I prepared, I ended up really getting into a groove for the last 30 days where I used a question bank. And I went through each question. I went through all the answers, the descriptions, and then every question that had a relating picmonic flashcard, I would also do that and memorize that. And so in that way, I just kind of went through systematically through every question. I also mentioned that I was going to use first aid, Golion, and Pathoma. What ended up happening with first aid is I was using it less and less, and I was just referencing when I had a really big question. But in the end, the last week, I decided to read through first aid again. So I read through the entire first aid in the last week. It broke up my study schedule, so it was kind of fun to actually read a textbook with paper rather than just looking at a computer screen. So in that way, it was really good. With Pathoma, I ended up finding that the videos were just too long. Even on double speed, it was just kind of making me anxious. So I ended up stopping Pathoma altogether after a while. Though I did get through Pathoma once through completely. In most videos, I probably ended up watching 1.5 to 2 times on average. So I felt like Pathoma was very helpful for me, but I didn't use it in my last 30 days. With Golion, I had the audio files. I ended up using those mainly for runs and exercising and driving. So I would use those audio clips just to make my downtime effective as well. But I was very strict with my time. I studied for 13 hours a day, and that doesn't include breaks and time for meals and for exercise. So let me now go on to the second thing I wanted to talk about, which is how my preparation affected me. Was it as hard as everyone said it would be? Oh man, it was awful. I mean, everything that everyone told me and more. I found myself, my health actually deteriorating. I was getting sick often. I was getting depressed. I mean, I would come home with backaches. I would read about meningitis, and I was convinced I had meningitis at one point. I literally went through like the craziest things with my physical condition. It was just so much stress and so much intense studying that it started to really wear on me. It was actually kind of like running a mental marathon every day for 30 days. I needed a break. I was fatigued. There were times when I just like literally wanted to sit and stare at a blank wall all day long. I mean, I would have been happier doing that than studying. And there were times when I just could not fit one more thing into my head. So I was cranky, I was really miserable, and I was not fun to be around. From my family's point of view and from my study friends' point of view, it was just awful. I had to just stay intense, and I just had to focus, or else I was getting anxious about not studying hard enough. So let's go on to point number 3, which was test day logistics. When I was taking practice tests, I was finishing them all early. In fact, a lot of my practice tests were full of buzzwords, similar questions to those that I'd seen on question banks. I was finishing early those practice tests. On test day, I ended up using every last second that I had. My breaks were cut short. I really didn't have enough time. It was just test day stress or something, but I ended up using every last second. So I wouldn't plan on a ton of extra time. Also, I went with a group of guys, and we went to take it together. We also planned to eat lunch together. In the test, they take you in one by one, so your time starts, and everyone ends up being on a different schedule for breaks and for lunch. So I had planned to drive with my friend across the street and grab a quick sandwich and then come back. I didn't get to do that, so I ended up like eating my snacks. And my friend who drove, he went off and got a sandwich because he was out before anyone else. And when he came back, he couldn't eat the rest of his sandwich. I took his table scraps and I ate them. And the reason was because I needed all the energy that I could get. and my like granola bars and fruit snacks and water bottle, it just wasn't cutting it. So I would definitely plan on something crazy going on, whether it's that or something totally different. I actually also dozed off in the test, and that's a problem I've had before, where I just get under a stressful situation, like my body kind of wants to shut down. I just want to sit down and relax. I didn't have enough energy like on the second half of the test, and I had to run out during one of my breaks and just like scarf down some more sugar, and that ended up helping. But I wish I would have eaten appropriately before I dozed off. So now for the aftermath, which is my fourth point. I came out super stressed and nervous. I thought I had failed it. I called my wife and she said, "How did it go?" And I responded like, "I cannot guarantee right now that I've passed this test." Even though I was doing great on my practice tests, I felt horrible. But then what brought some comfort was that I did go with some other people. We went out to eat afterwards and we talked about it. And it was interesting because we had like almost the same tests, and a lot of the questions that we were all worried about, we brought up, everyone we could remember, and we all ended up putting the same answers, which were probably the right answers. So you probably will do better than your initial thoughts right after the test are. I'm still in that waiting period where I don't have my score back, and you guys will be too. It's awful. You're just nervous. You still don't know. Yet you have to start your third year rotations. Like I start my rotations in peds in 3 days, and I won't get my results back for a month. I also talked to a doctor that's a neighbor of mine, and he said that anyone coming out of that test feeling confident is a fool. I know a few people who came out feeling confident, and rightfully so. So those of you who see questions in the comments that you might know the answer to, feel free to join in the conversation. We'll all learn together. Thanks so much, guys, for watching. Hopefully I didn't put you in too depressed of a mood. Again, I am waiting, so it is pretty nerve-wracking. Thanks for watching. See ya.